Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk about your coronavirus home defense plan, okay? Now, the thing that makes this a little different than an ordinary home defense plan is the situation where we have to consider whether the police are going to show up or they're not going to show up, okay? Because usually if we're the victim of a home invasion, okay, we know that yes, we have to defend ourselves. We know that the police aren't going to get there fast enough to actually stop the attack from happening. But after we deal with the attack, we know that the police are gonna be there within an hour or so. Okay, maybe sooner, maybe 30 minutes, maybe they'll be there in 10 minutes, but they won't be there fast enough to stop the attack from happening. But they will be there fast enough to prevent the attack from continuing to happen. So we can expect that a home invasion is going to last minutes, okay? And at that point, they're going to either be successful, okay, or what's going to happen is you're going to fight them and you're going to either eliminate them or they're going to run off. In which case, we know that they're not coming back because they know the police are on their way. Under normal circumstances, a home invasion is going to last minutes. And it's not something that's going to continue for hours or days. Okay, it's a short-term thing. It may seem like a long time while it's actually happening, but the main component is that we can expect that the police will be there to reinforce us. Okay, so in a situation like we have now, the coronavirus, we're seeing reports that a lot of police departments are not responding to minor crimes like theft. Okay. Which tells me that if the situation continues to get worse, they're going to start increasing the list of things that they're not responding to until they get to the point where they're not responding to anything. Okay, now I don't know how far it will get, but we want to consider that possibility that we may get to the point where the police are just not responding to any calls. Okay, so in that case, we need an alternative. Okay, we cannot depend on the police for reinforcement. Okay, we're going to look to our neighbors for support. Okay, so that's an important component of a home defense plan where you're not expecting the police to show up. You need to set up a system of mutual defense with your neighbors. Okay, so that's going to be your reinforcements. Okay, so that's an important consideration here. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is what type of attack are we likely to get. Okay, is it a random attack? And by a random attack, I mean you have a bunch of thugs, they're driving down the road, and they basically see a house. Maybe they don't see a car in the driveway, or maybe they believe that there's only a single mother in there with her two kids, and they identify it as an easy target. So if the significance of this is if it's a random attack where they're expecting the target to be easy, if they encounter any resistance, they are most likely going to leave. Okay, they're not going to sit there and keep fighting it out because they were looking for an easy target of opportunity. Okay, so that's different from a supply attack. Okay, this is a very specific attack where they have identified your house as a place where they can get certain supplies that they need. Okay, and they've determined that they absolutely have to have those supplies in order to survive, which means that the invaders are going to be more willing to fight and take risks in order to get the supplies that they need. Okay, and the other type of attack is a personal attack, and again, this is also a specific attack where they identify you as a person that they need to eliminate, and the reason might be is because you're the security leader of your neighborhood. You're the one that's basically organizing all the security detail, and they realize that they need to eliminate you in order to be able to attack this group of houses and get the supplies that they need. Okay, and again, the significance here is it's a specific attack where basically eliminating you is the mission. Okay, and they're going to be willing to take more risks and stay in there and fight it out with you. Okay, so these are important considerations. Okay, now the other thing we want to consider is communications. Okay, what type of communications do we have? First of all, are we able to see the news and see what's going on? okay? Because that's how we're going to kind of get a feeling for if the police are going to show up or they're not going to show up, okay? So like right now, I know that the police are not responding to certain calls in certain cities, for minor crimes. At some point, the news may get cut off, okay? And then, the internet may get cut off, and then, radio may get cut off, but, if you're cut off from information, right, there's a good chance that you can expect that the police are not going to show up, okay? So we're over here, we're in a situation where there's no police coming to assist you, you're on your own with whatever neighbors you are working with, okay? So communications is, is something important for you to keep track of, to know what level you're at. Are you at a level of police showing up, or are you a level of police not showing up? Okay. Other thing you want to keep track of is, your food, water, heat, and medical supplies. Okay. Now you may not have all of these things, so again, you may, it would be a good idea to work with your neighbors, because, for example, your neighbor might be a nurse or a doctor, so they might have, a stock of some medical supplies, while you, on the other hand, have a fireplace, and you're able to provide heat and a place for them to just cook food. So, you may have to work together with your neighbors in that form. So you want to keep track of what resources you have available, what resources your neighbors have available, and work together to survive, basically. Okay, so again, this comes back to neighbors, working together with your neighbors. Now I'm going to come over here. We're going to talk about your actual home defense plan. Okay, normally when I'm talking about home defense, I start off pretty much in this area right here, and we talk about the tactics of the actual home defense. In this video, it's important to talk about the overall strategy, because we need to know basically, what's going on and where we're going and what type of, support we can expect. So as far as your individual home defense plan, the first thing you got to have is guns, okay? You can't defend your home unless you have guns. And I've done prior videos on this. Ideally, you want an AR-15, okay, with a pistol as a backup. And the pistol that I normally would recommend is a Glock, or something that is Glock-like. Okay, it could be a SIG 320. I mean, I don't care, but you want a pistol you want a duty pistol. Okay, you don't want a pocket pistol that only holds 6 rounds. That's great for everyday carry, but in a home defense situation, you want an AR-15, 30-round magazine. And you want, like a Glock 17, or something that holds 15 or 20 rounds as your backup gun. Okay. Now, here's the thing: it's not enough to just have enough guns for yourself. Okay, it's not enough to have just one gun for you so you can defend your family. You need to have extra guns, so that first of all you can supply and arm other adult members in your family or in your household, okay? And also you have to consider your neighbors, okay? Because your neighbors are useless if they don't have guns, okay? So I want to make sure I have enough guns to also arm my neighbors, okay? And I want to make sure, especially if I'm giving them AR-15s, I want all my AR-15s to have red dots on them, because especially since they probably not practice in shooting with AR-15s, I need them to be able to see that red dot, and I want red dots that have that are either solar powered or have auto shutdown or shake awake, so that they don't run the battery down, because it is highly likely that they're not going to remember to turn off the red dot, or they're not even going to know how to turn it on under a stressful situation. So you want them to just be able to pick up the rifle, find the red dot right there, aim it, take the safety off, stop pulling the trigger. Okay, so that's the situation you want. You want the easiest possible gun that they can use, and you want to have enough of them so that you can supply all of your immediate neighbors if need be. And that's going to be really important, especially in a situation where, because like I said, if this is a specific attack where they're looking for certain supplies, right, or they're looking to attack you personally, they're not going away. Okay, so they're gonna basically surround your house and potentially burn the house down with you in it. So you want to have your neighbors shooting at them from different positions, okay, from inside their home or from cover or whatever. Okay, now you also need to be able to communicate with your neighbors. Of course, you're not going to be able to do that with your cell phone. I keep a couple of 100 feet of rope and some bells because I have farm animals, so I have bells that typically go on the animals. So I can run rope, between the houses with bells attached to the ends. So if there's a threat, I can yank on the rope. And basically alert the neighbors. Now, this is not something that you need to set up now, right? But this is something that I can set up pretty quickly if I get a sense that the police are not responding. Okay, so that's something really simple. Rope with a bell at the end, but you do need a couple of 100 feet depending on how far away the houses are. Okay, so something for you guys to consider as far as communicating with your neighbors. Okay, so now back to your home defense plan. And this is for inside your home. Well, you need guns. Okay, you need guns to supply your neighbors. You have to designate a safe room. Okay, basically you want to pick a room where you think that you have the best tactical advantage to get your family into, all right, and come up with a plan to fight. Where you're going to fight from. Now, in my particular house, 2-floor house, I can get my family upstairs into a bedroom, and I would prefer to fight any home invaders down the staircase. Okay, I can take cover top of the staircase, and what I want to do is I want to channel the bad guys into a small confined area like a staircase where I'm holding the high ground. They're charging up a staircase. AR-15 rounds are great for going through multiple bodies. Okay, so one bullet can potentially hit 2 or 3 guys, on the way down. And I can basically just throw a bunch of lead down the stairs and stop those bad guys. So that's one option. You want to identify certain choke points. Okay, so staircases, hallways, doorways. Okay, because we call that the funnel of death. If they're all coming in through a doorway, again they're gonna get all choked up together, right? And here's the thing: if you hit the first couple of guys, they're falling down. The guys behind them are tripping over them. So now you got everybody bunched up in one spot. That is a great way to engage. For one person to engage multiple bad guys. Now, hopefully, it's more than just you. It's you and your wife, or you and some other adult in your house. Okay, but you want to actually visualize this. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to move your kids, your family? Are they going to go upstairs? Everybody needs to know where they got to go when you say, go to that spot. They got to understand that it's an emergency. They got to get there right away. Where they got to hide. So you have to have this plan in place, and everybody needs to know what they're going to do. Basically, home defense guns, for home defense rifles, AR-15, got a bright 1000 lume light on it. Okay, and here's the thing: like if I'm engaging outside the house, yeah, great. I don't want to turn the light on because it might give away my position. But if you're engaging in the house, okay, it's kind of obvious where you're at. You're at the end of the staircase or at the end of the hallway. So especially if the attack is happening at night, I want to leave that light on because it's going to be very blinding. Okay, 1000 lume light. If they're coming if they're moving through the dark because the lights are off. Even if the lights are on, 1000 lumens when they're looking at that light, it can be, it can be very, it can be somewhat blinding and disorienting. So if it's, especially inside the home where the walls are smooth, the light tends to reflect, so it gets a lot brighter than it would be outdoors. So inside the home, if it's obvious what my position is, get the light on, because now I'm shooting a strong beam of light at them, and I'm sending bullets in that same direction. So now here's the thing. Typically, when we talk about engaging, right? We under normal circumstances, we tell people, don't go after the bad guys. Okay, if they're leaving, let them leave. But the thing to consider here is, if you got a couple of bad guys in your house, right, and there's another group outside the house, dressed up like road warriors. Okay, the people that, the bad guys that are leaving, that they're not leaving to go home. They're leaving to go back and join their friends so they can continue the attack. Okay, so in a situation like that, basically, there's no taking the prisoners. Okay, if you got a bunch of bad guys and they designated that they need to take your house because they need supplies or they need to eliminate you, it's a fight to the death. Okay, that's just the reality. And again, this is like the most extreme possibility. Okay, but this is one of the things that we want to consider, and we have to consider where we're at. We want to be careful. We don't want to be in a situation where we're actually here where the police are still responding, and we're going into this like it's an end of the world situation, because now they're going to say that you're using excess force, that you're murdering people. So you have to have a good sense of exactly where things are. Okay, but if it's a sense where if you sense that the police are not responding, that you're absolutely on your own. And you've got a big gang outside your house that's looking to come in. I mean, yeah, there's no taking prisoners at that point. Okay, that's just reality. Okay, all right. So that's our action plan. Okay, we got to know what we're gonna do, when we're gonna do it, where we're gonna have the people in our house. We have to visualize this under different circumstances. Wife screaming, kids screaming. You not being able to hear stuff because of the gunfire, right? Especially inside the home. If a gun, when the gunfire starts, you're not going to be able to hear anything. Your ears are going to numb out. Okay. So again, that's why I'd like to engage in a narrow staircase where I can just rake fire down the stairs. The other thing is that once the gunfire starts, the smoke, is even if you have a light on, you're not going to be able to see very well, okay, because of the smoke. It's different when you're shooting outdoors, or even if you're in an indoor range that has ventilation. Your house doesn't have ventilation to deal with gunfire smoke, so the whole house is going to start smoking up. So and again, there'll be difficulty in breathing, coughing. That's you have to kind of visualize this, okay. So and then so that's our action plan. Again, think of an action plan, visualize it, discuss it with the adults in your house, and then basically have a reinforcement plan. Your reinforcement plan, since it can't be the neighbors, it can't be the police. It's gonna have to be your neighbors. So have some way of communicating with your neighbors that you need help. Make sure that they're armed with enough gun that they can actually be of use to you, okay? And make sure that they're not shooting at you, that they're shooting at the bad guy. So that's also something that you have to kind of figure out, because you don't want them, if they have a house that's a couple of 100 feet away, you don't want them to freak out and just start blindly shooting into your house. You want to make sure that they understand that you shoot at the bad guys around the house, not into the house. You'll deal with the guys inside the house. But if they start putting fire on the guys outside the house, now there's a good chance that that's not what they were expecting. There's a good chance that they might leave at that point. Okay, so that's our reinforcement plan, and then you got to consider the aftermath. First of all, aftermath. Are they going to come back tomorrow? Maybe. You got to be ready for them. Okay, have a plan, discuss it with your neighbors. How you're going to deal with them coming back. Okay, chances are if they come back with more guys and more guns. You got to be ready for that. Okay, what are you going to do with the bodies? Okay, because especially in the summertime, you can't have rotting bodies outside your house because then you're going to start getting sick from infection. Burn the bodies, feed them to the chickens. You got to do something with those bodies. You can't just leave them out there indefinitely to rot. And then basically you also want to consider long-term the police and the legal situation, because at some point, most likely things will return back to normal. We hope, but at some point you're going to have to give an accounting of what happened, okay? Really good idea to grab your neighbors, give them some blank pieces of paper, and have them record what happened, okay? And how, exactly what happened. Just have them record it. Hold on to it, because down the road, your neighbors may not be available for one reason or another to give testimony. So you want to have their written testimony as to exactly what happened, okay? Because down the road, like I said, there might be a legal accounting. And of course, if we get back to that point, like I would normally tell people if you're involved in any type of defensive shooting where police and prosecutors are now all of a sudden involved. You get a lawyer, let the lawyer do the talking for you. Okay, so there's a couple of things to think about. It's not a complete thing because I could literally talk all day about this, but it's something for you to start thinking about. Okay, and this is now when we're talking about coronavirus home defense, and when I say coronavirus, this could be any natural disaster. Okay. Basically it's a situation where the normal order, of things has changed. Okay, we can no longer depend on the police, and we have to kind of figure out what we're going to do to defend ourselves. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add to these, please do in the comment section. And if you're not a member of the channel, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.